Today we're going to work on the drawing on page 10.5. This is called the bearing drawing, and this drawing brings up the concept of a section view. So in a section view, we're essentially taking a part and cutting it in half and then showing an internal view of the drawing. The first thing you want to do is you want to open up your template, the template that we created previously. So we can go to File, New. You should get this Create New Drawing box. If you don't, then you want to come down here and enter Startup, or type Startup, hit Enter, and then change your startup from 3 to 1. Open up the ACAD-A-H-title.dwt template. Remember, this is the open template. Right here are the user template. Hit OK. You should go ahead and turn on all your layers. Make sure you don't have anything in your drawing. If you do, delete it on the model layer or in the model space. Type your layout. Make sure that you see the title block here. If you don't see the title block, then you might have to go back and find it. You may have deleted it somewhere. If you need to, you can go back to the I believe it was either the last homework 8 or homework 7 where we actually created this title block. So you can go back and find that and locate it. Okay, so let's go back to the model space and let's set up to start this drawing. So let's first go into our drafting settings and make sure our drafting settings are set up properly. So in our object snap, let's just take a look at this. Our object snap is on, object snap tracking is on. We want to make sure we're set up for endpoint, center. Let's turn on quadrant. I believe we'll need that. Intersection. That looks okay. Polar tracking can be on. Track only orthogonally, however. And then snap and grid. Our snap can be on. We're going to be on a polar snap. And then our grid spacings, we have it set up to 1. It doesn't matter too much in this for this particular drawing. Okay, so and again, dynamic input should be disabled. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to start the drawing with some construction lines. So let's go into the construction layer. Make a construction line. Choose an area out here. Start a horizontal line. Make a vertical line. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use offsets to add some more lines. So if you look at this drawing, there's 3.5 inches between the two essentially mounting points of this bearing, and the center point therefore is half of that, or 1.75. So what we're going to do is we're going to use offset. Set the offset distance to 1.75. Hit enter. Then we're going to move up by 1 unit, and then we're going to click on the line we just created and move up by another unit. So now we essentially have the two ends and the center of our design. So from here we can actually start the design. So let's go into our layer. We're going to change our layer to object. We're going to create circles first. And if you remember, the circle over here always defaults to radius. So what I generally do is I set this circle up for diameter, and then whenever I want a diameter circle, I use this one. If I want a radius circle, I use that one. Makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to come over here, click on here, make a diameter circle, 1.5. Again, make a circle down here, diameter 1.5. And then in the center, we're going to make a circle of diameter 2.5. Now, while we're here, in the center, we're also going to have a circle of a diameter 2 and a circle of diameter 1.5. So we're going to put in a circle of diameter 2, and then another circle of diameter 1.5. And if you look at the call out for the mounting hole, what you see is you see a diameter symbol of 3/8, and then you see this kind of a U box symbol, diameter 5/8, with an arrow pointing down, and then a 1/8. So what does that mean? That means that you have a hole that's 3/8 inch diameter, and that's the center hole, and then you have a counter bore with diameter 5/8 and a depth of 1/8 of an inch. Now, what is a counter bore? A counter bore is a hole that's essentially made with a drill bit with a flat bottom. So the flat bottom essentially drills down and makes a hole that goes down, in this case, 1/8 of an inch, but the bottom is flat. A countersink is a hole where the hole is made by essentially a drill with a tip that has an angle on it. And a typical angle is 82 degrees, but you actually have to specify that angle. And that angle is designed to fit with a flathead screw so that the screw head has the same angle and it mates up properly with the part. Anyway, going to those holes, we see we need a 3/8 inch diameter hole and a 5/8 inch diameter hole. So a 3/8 would be 0.375. So we're going to add 2 holes. Put a diameter hole here of 0.375. And 5/8 is 0.625. So on the same location, circle, same location, 0.625. Now we can do the same thing down here. We can always also copy these two. So in order to copy these two, we can select them. Then we can right mouse click, choose copy selection, choose the center point for where we want to move from, and then just move it down to the other hole. Okay, now that we have all this, we actually have to draw in tangent lines. So we need tangent lines from this circle to this outer circle, to the from the end circle to the center circle, and then from the center circle to the end circle. So the way we do that, each one will be exactly the same. We're going to hit line, snap from tangent. Again, we see our deferred tangent symbol. We see a tangent symbol and then a deferred tangent note. Click on the circle. We have to go back up here, type snap from tangent, and then type the second circle. If you don't do the snap from tangent before each click of the mouse on the circle, you're going to go from the quadrant point, most likely. And you won't get the correct line. So for instance, if I just do this without going to snap from, you're going to see where I'm going to put the line in like that. And it looks kind of similar, but it really isn't. And you can see how it actually crosses the circle there. So we don't want that. Let's delete that. Come back over here so you can see this better. And let's add the rest of these. So line, snap from, circle, snap from, circle, escape. And we do this 2 more times. Snap from, circle, snap from, circle, escape. Line, snap from, circle, snap from, circle, escape. Okay, now that we have all this, we need to do some deleting. And what we can do is we can select, or deleting, but it's actually using trim. We select trim, and then for the trim pieces, we want to use these 4 tangents. Plus the main circle, the large circle. And after we do that, we hit enter. And then we want to delete this piece, This is no longer be a trim. That's going to become a delete, I believe. Yeah, it won't let it, if you do this one and then that one, it's going to end up becoming a delete. So once I hit escape, I can go back to it and delete it. Okay, so now we have this essentially complete. We haven't yet put in the hole here on the side. We're going to leave that for now. What we're going to do next is we're going to add construction lines to help us put in the side view drawing. Let's go back to our construction layer. And let me make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take this line and we're going to put an offset line in that is 5 inches over. So we're going to do offset 5, enter, click on our line, and there it is. We're then going to take another line that's 0.5 inches over back to the left from this line. We're going to do offset 0.5. Oh, apparently I didn't hit enter or I didn't hit the mouse button after that line got placed. So let's go back and do that again. The first one. So offset 5, enter, or yes, enter. Click here and click to complete. Now offset 0.5, enter, click, and click, and another one at 2 from here, 2 inches to the left. So offset 2, click here, to enter, click here, click here. Now, if you're following in the book, those are the only ones they put in. I'm going to put a couple of additional ones in. Now, I'm going to put in a line that is 0.25 inches to the right from this one. So we're going to do offset 0.25, enter, here, that way. And then I'm going to put one that's 0.125 to the right of this one. I'm going to do offset 0.125, enter. And you'll see why those are helpful in a bit. And then finally, we're going to put another one 1.25 inches from here. So offset 1.25, enter, click here, offset to that point. Okay, that takes care of our vertical lines. Now our horizontal lines. So for our horizontal lines, we're going to put a construction line everywhere where there is a relief that's happening that will result in something on this drawing. So let's start with the top here. Just click on the top, add a construction line. We're going to add a construction line here. We're going to add a construction line here. We're going to add a construction line here. We're going to add a construction line there. We're going to add one here. Now here's one you're probably not thinking about. We're going to add one here, which is the point where this tangent meets the circle. And the reason we need one there is because at this point, there's sort of a relief change, because this is the point where this base plate begins to form. This piece here between these two tangents will go the whole length of the part, but the base plate actually starts forming at the point where this tangent meets. So we're going to add another one there. We're going to add one here. Add one there. Add one there. Pretty easy, right? We just have to make sure we don't skip any. However, if we find that we missed one, we can come back later and add it. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can come over here and start drawing the part. So we're going to go into our object layer. We're going to choose line, and we're going to start right here. And we're going to start drawing the part. So the part is going to start here. We're going to come out by a 1/2 inch. We're going to come up to this point. Come all the way up to the top. Out to the top part of the circle. Come back down to here. Go up to the top. Over to the end, and then hit return, and then back down to the beginning. That completes that portion. The next thing we need to do is we need to add a line which shows the relief change as we get from the point where this part starts. The base plate starts here. So we're going to take a line and we're going to draw it from here out to this point here. And then on the other side there'll be another line that's going to go from here, that tangent, over there. Just like that. So from here we need to now start putting in our hidden lines. And to put in our hidden lines, we first go to our hidden layer. And we have a large recess here that will hold, I don't know, presumably whatever this bearing is supporting. We'll start with a line, and that's going to start here. And then come down. The only difficult part here is that you have to just make sure that you actually select the correct start and end point. So this first indent should correspond to the ends of this circle. Then there's a through hole, a large through hole, that corresponds to the, second circle. So we can go ahead and do that. While we're here, there's a hidden hole here that we can't see of diameter 0.375. It's located 1.25 inches out, and that's why we put this line in. We'll click here, type 0.375. That takes care of that hole. Now we could draw a couple more construction lines to put that hidden lines, to bring the hidden lines back over here, but we can also just use tracking. So let's again take a line, start from here, track back to here, and then bring it out and complete it. So again, we just start the tracking here. We don't hit the mouse button until we get to there. Hit the mouse button, hit the mouse button again. So that puts in the hidden lines for that. This is presumably, by the way, is a set screw hole. Now take a look. What do I notice? I noticed that we missed 2 construction lines right here, and that's fine. Like I said, we'll just add them in. Maybe I missed them on purpose. I'll let you decide. But that's my story. And now we can complete the hidden lines for this, the countersink, or the counter bore. And here's where you really just need to be careful. You need to double check once you do it to make sure you get it right. So let's go back to the hidden layer. Choose our line. We start here, go down all the way up to there, and then back up. We hit escape. And then the through hole, we start here and then go all the way to the end of the part, and then do the same thing on the other end of the circle. Now remember, you don't have to take this through hole all the way to the top, and it's the same thing here. You don't take it to the top because that material is already missing because of this hole. So you don't need to bring this all the way up to there. And now we can go down and do the same thing on the other side. So we come down here. Like that. Put that line in. Put this line in. And let's take a look at our part. Let's zoom so that we can see the part. And at this point we're going to delete our not delete, turn off our construction layer, just so we can better see what we're looking at. And at this point the part is pretty much complete. Well, what are we missing here? We're missing our center marks. And we can go ahead and go into our center layer. And I don't know which center mark we're set up for yet, so let's just, actually, that's not center mark. Center mark is here. We click, remember, we want to click on the outer circle. So for the outer circle, we can click here. And we see we already have a large center mark. If you don't, remember, if you don't have a large center mark, you can go into, you can do format, drafting, dimension style. But you can also check it here. We're set up for mechanical setups. You can go annotation and just click right there, and that will open it up. Go to modify, and then symbols and arrows, you want to set it to line instead of mark. So we set that center mark. We set this outer center mark. And we set the lower center mark. And then we want center lines. So from center line we can start from, well, one of the things we can do is we can start from here, we can track over, and we know we're 5 inches to the end. So we could go, we know this is a 1/2 inch. So we could go, as we're tracking, we could type 4, enter. Let's see, 4 didn't bring us quite to the right point. Or I think we're actually, yeah, we're spacing in steps of 0.5. We could put a center line there and then bring it out to there, something like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Start there, go to there. And then one in the center. Bring our tracking line over. Start there. Go to there. And then we need one here. So to do this one, we could track up from here. Actually, for this one, we can actually just use the center mark. For the other side. And right now at this point, I'm not going to add dimensions. I'm going to stop this drawing at this point, and I'll continue it on with another video for how we'll actually do the section drawing.